do you have an example where Novartis was able to establish a solid partnership to really drive this?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for asking the question. I can't answer probably on all the questions that were on Gerard's slide because there was a lot of invitations for pharma, but maybe specifically on this one, absolutely. I'll mention a very concrete example in cardiovascular disease that you may have seen in the press recently, where we wanted to address these bottlenecks that I just talked about, right? We know, like I said before, in cardiovascular disease, a lot of innovations already available, a lot of patients out there, but getting them together is challenging. And maybe specifically now focusing on secondary prevention, so patients who have already had a cardiovascular event like a heart attack or a stroke. I mean, those patients are at very high unmet medical needs, but still we see the same problem, that they're somewhere lost in the system and not getting to the interventions they need. And actually I saw a question as well in the Q&A from Eduardo Pisani around this, what are these bottlenecks that I mentioned before? I mean, one is patients are lost in the system. So how can we partner to identify them again? And another one is sometimes, administrative hurdles that get in the way of bringing the right innovation in an easy way to the right patient. So an example of where we partnered to address these bottlenecks is actually very recently with the NHS in England, where the NHS recognized as well as we all do that cardiovascular disease is their #1 killer. And they wanted to bring all these interventions, these innovations together with all these patients, especially those patients at high risk that have already had a cardiovascular event. We have the same mission, right? We would love to bring our innovation faster to those patients in need. So we started to discuss how we can actually work together to open the door of the train, right? To remove those bottlenecks. And we came to a collaboration where we have now an aligned objective. We want to treat 300,000 patients with the most innovative medication to, in this case, it was about specifically lowering their cholesterol. That would lead to 30,000 lives saved and 55,000 heart attacks and strokes prevented. And we do that together. So the NHS is deploying their capabilities. We are deploying our capabilities to remove those bottlenecks. So for example, the patient identification, which is one of the major hurdles, where are these guys? The NHS can do that. They have deployed an algorithm on their system to find those patients that have already had a heart attack and a stroke, bring them in, make sure the incentives are in place for the primary care physicians to deploy the innovation, and make sure the outcomes are measured, the patients are followed up, etc. So I think, it is possible to open the doors, to remove the bottlenecks, but it is indeed, I think, as Gerard said before, pretty complex and not something that one company or one system or one stakeholder can do alone. You need to partner, bundle the expertise, our research expertise and education expertise with the NHS digital expertise, the logistics, the incentive systems to come together. And only in that way, I think, can we have a really significant impact on improving healthcare and, making sure the value gets to the patients in need. And we do achieve those outcomes that are basically out there up for grabs. Right? The patients are there, the interventions are there. We just need to figure out how to bring them together in a more efficient way. So it is possible. We're proving that as we speak in England. And we are very keen to actually have similar partnerships in other countries, because indeed the frustration, I think, for us and for many systems is high that these two are otherwise not getting together. So very open to more of these collaborations.
I think hopefully a lot of people will accept that invitation. And I was just thinking one thing, Jannik, what you mentioned here about that the collaboration indeed is key, but it also, I think, requires that people start with a bit more open mindset about the other stakeholders in the system, because what you said, NHS helping in identifying patients, a basic attitude could used to be, ooh, then we get more patients in the system and then it becomes more expensive. Well, I think that's the classical thinking. So it also starts with entering this domain together with a more open mind about some attitudes.
Well, I totally agree. It all starts with being transparent from all sides on, what's in it for the NHS, what's in it for us, be transparent. because indeed otherwise there will always be this mistrust. And again, yes, happy to be totally open also about what's in it for us. Yeah.